Welcome back to Developer Roadmaps. In this explainer, we're shifting gears from the what of HTML to the how. As in, how do we give our web pages some style and bring them to life with a bit of interactivity?
So just to recap, we've already figured out that a solid foundation starts with semantic HTML. It's the skeleton, right? It gives our web page structure and meaning for everything from headings to paragraphs.
But let's be honest, a skeleton by itself isn't all that engaging, is it? So the big question now is, how do we dress it up? How do we make it interactive? Well, this is exactly where CSS and JavaScript come into play. First things first, let's talk about style. We're going to move from the pure structure of HTML to the visual presentation. And that is all handled by CSS, or as it's officially known, cascading style sheets.
You know, a really great way to think about this is to imagine CSS as your web page's wardrobe. And just like there's more than one way to put an outfit together, there are a few different ways to apply styles to your HTML. Let's take a look at the three main strategies.
The very first method is something called inline CSS. This is the most direct approach you can take, where you apply a style right inside an HTML tag. It's kind of like adding a single, very specific accessory to just one part of your outfit.
Let's look at a quick example. You can see that style attribute is placed directly inside the opening H1 tag. What we're doing here is telling this one specific heading, and only this one, to be blue and centered. Now, it's pretty quick for a small change, but this approach can cause some major headaches as your project gets bigger. Yeah, while inline styles might seem handy for a quick fix, they become a maintenance nightmare pretty fast. Your HTML gets all cluttered, the styles aren't reusable, and you end up violating a core principle of web development, separating structure from presentation. As a general rule, it's best to just avoid this method.
So, a much better approach is using internal CSS. Here, instead of styling elements one by one, you group all the styles for a single page inside a style tag, which lives right inside the document's head section.
And here's what that looks like. Inside the head tag, we've got this style block. In here, we can define rules for elements like the body and the H1 tag. This is already so much cleaner than inline styles because it pulls all the styling logic for the page into one dedicated place. But it has one major limitation. These styles only apply to this one HTML file. So if you have a 10-page website and you decide you want to change the heading color, you'd have to go in and edit all 10 files. It's definitely better, but it's still not scalable for a real project.
And this brings us to the industry standard, the best practice, external CSS. With this approach, all your styles live in a completely separate file, usually one with a .css extension. This gives you a really clean separation of concerns. HTML handles the structure, and CSS handles the style.
This is what a typical file structure might look like. You've got your index.html file and then a separate main.css file, which is often tucked away in its own styles folder. The two files are totally separate, but they are connected. That connection is made with just a single link tag in the HTML's head. This little tag tells the browser exactly where to find the style sheet. Now, this is a key checkpoint on your developer journey. Notice how this simple line elegantly separates your document structure from its design, making your code so much more organized.
And the benefits here are just huge. You can reuse the same style sheet across your entire website. Want to change the look and feel? You just edit one file. It also improves performance, because once a user's browser downloads that CSS file, it gets cached for all the other pages. So, let's place this on our roadmap. Separating structure from style is an absolutely foundational skill.
So, we've dressed our page up, but it's still pretty static. Now let's make it interactive. This is the job of JavaScript, the third core technology of the web. It's the language that adds behavior and response to what the user does.
But where you put your JavaScript matters a ton for performance. If you place your script tag up in the head, the browser basically hits a roadblock. It has to stop everything, download that script, and run it before it can show any of the page's content. This is called render blocking, and it's a huge reason why some websites feel so slow.
The solution? It's to move the script tag to the very end of the body just before the closing tag. See why this improves performance? The browser can now parse and show the entire visible page to the user first. Only after the page content is displayed does it go and get the script. This makes the site feel significantly faster to the user. And we can get even more control with two special attributes, async and defer. The async attribute downloads the script in the background, but executes it the moment it's ready, which could still interrupt things. Defer also downloads in the background, but it waits until the entire page is parsed before it runs. This makes deferred a safer and more predictable choice for most scripts that need to interact with your page content.
Now, having the power to style and animate our pages comes with a big responsibility. We need to make sure our websites are performant, and just as importantly, that they are accessible to everyone, regardless of their abilities.
We have to start asking ourselves some really important questions. Can a user navigate the site with just a keyboard? Is the color contrast good enough for someone with low vision? Could our animations cause discomfort? Does the site still work if JavaScript fails to load? These aren't just optional extras, they are fundamental to writing professional and responsible code.
Okay, let's pull all these pieces together and lay out a clear workflow. Think of this as a crucial checkpoint on your developer journey.
Here it is, the ideal workflow. 1. Structure first. Always start with your content and structure using clean semantic HTML. 2. Add style. Then, layer on your presentation by linking to an external style sheet. And 3. Enhance with logic. Finally, enhance the experience by adding your JavaScript at the end of the body. Structure, style, and logic. Always in that order. We've laid a really solid technical foundation today, so the next stop on our roadmap is making our websites work for everyone. We're going to dive deep into accessibility principles, and we'll also cover the basics of SEO to make sure our sites can actually be found in the first place. This is Developer Roadmaps. Map your path, build your career. Thanks so much for joining us.